link in the chat, sorry, Sharon, will you email it to Summer?
Sure, will do.
Thanks. Okay, we're live. There we go. But we're not going to use the chat for anything else after this, okay?
Got it.
So Sharon is going to share the song through her computer.
I know, I've got it. I just
got it.
give me 1 second. Sorry. Let me just. Sorry. Sharon, will you drop in the, hold on, I just closed a window, 1 second, sorry. Can you just, actually. There we go. Those of you that are joining us, we are working on getting some music, winter music ready for you to listen to. We are glad you're here. It is 12:28 and we will be starting at 12:35. This is an ad. We're going to see the ad. Is this volume better? Hold on.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is
You
glistening.
guys can mute.
A
You
beautiful
want.
sight.
You can keep your cameras on, but yeah.
Walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird. Here to stay is a new bird. He sings a love song. We go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, man, but you can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire. The place unafraid, plans that we've made, walking in the winter wonderland. Are you listening? Snow is glistening, A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. It's a bluebird, if this day is a new bird, he sings a love song, we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow, we can build a snowman and pretend that he's a circus clown. We have lots of fun with Mr. Snowman. Yes, until the other kiddies knock him down. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we've made. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland.
It's the time for play. It's what we're dreaming. I wait for the dawn. So tomorrow is so friendly in the arms of the evergreen tree. And the sun is red like a skin tan. It's young, you'll be moving. It's a sugar day.
Thank you for joining us. We'll be starting in a few minutes.
It's a sugar day.
I think we have time for one more song before we get started. Thank you for joining us on this lovely winter Friday afternoon.
Acquaintance be forgotten and never run to. Acquaintance be forgotten and never my dear. Kindness yet sorrow. Sorrow.
I wish we could continue listening to that wonderful music, but it is 12:35 and we are going to get started with our December assembly. We are going to be looking at celebrations around the world during the winter months. It's so great to be here with you today. We are going to get started. I just want to introduce again, we have Mr. Visotto from High School Technology. He's one of our teachers. And then we have Ms. Prince, who is a middle school and high school social studies teacher with us. And then we have Profe Bennett, or Mrs. Bennett, who is one of our Spanish teachers, who is also joining us virtually, as you will see in our future slides. All right, here we go. So before we get started, we just want to recognize all the winners from last month's Native American Heritage Booklet. We will be having another contest today. We're going to go back to Kahoot. We got some feedback that Kahoot is the preferred contest or quiz platform. If your name is up there, that means you were one of the Kahoot, or I'm sorry, Booklet winners for last month's assembly. Just to clarify, only one winner gets the actual Chick-fil-A gift card. We wish we had so much money that we could give all of those students Chick-fil-A gift cards. But what we do is we take all of those names and we randomly select one, and that is a student who earns a gift card. So congratulations to Garrett O'Neill. There will be another opportunity today to win. So I hope you are listening. Okay, so we're going to do things a little differently from last time. In the past, we've shown some videos, you stop, you talk. We're going to be utilizing the chat in your advisory class Zoom today. So teachers, make sure your chat is enabled. We're going to ask that the chats that you do are visible to everybody. They're not direct messages because we want everyone to see what it is that you are sharing. The holidays that we have selected to focus on are listed on our slide, but we have winter solstice, Yule, Hanukkah, Bodhi Day, Las Posadas, Kwanzaa, New Year's, and the Lunar New Year. These are not the only holidays that we celebrate during December and January. There are too many to fit into an assembly, but we wanted to pick holidays that represent different parts all over the world and different cultures and religions. If there's a holiday you celebrate that's not listed today, we would still love to know about it, and you'll have a chance to share in your chat. So we're going to listen to a little video. This is Profe Bennett, and she's going to explain to you a little bit about how the assembly is going to work today.
Hi everyone, Profe Bennett here. I wanted to share a quick message with our community. Today, we are going to be looking at different celebrations and traditions in the months of December and January. And I want us to all remember that some of us might be honoring something in December and January, and others may not. It might be just a time of relaxation. I also want to share that you're going to see some different traditions mentioned, and that each tradition has some facts or some information attached to it. And it's important to remember that not every person celebrates or honors traditions in the exact same way. Maybe you're going to notice a tradition that you and your family do today, but maybe you do it a little slightly different. That's okay. These differences are what make us unique and special and actually bond us as a community. So if you see a tradition mentioned and your family celebrates and maybe you do something in a different way, feel free to share it in your advisory chat. We hope you enjoy.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. Oops, sorry, I just want to, there we go. Sorry, we typically do a waterfall, but since we thought it's winter time, depending on where you are, a waterfall might not really exist. It might freeze. We're going to be doing an avalanche. So I want you to think to yourself, teachers, we want you participating too. Do you do a certain activity in the winter months, or do you celebrate anything? Go ahead and type that in your advisory class chat and hold on to it. Don't click submit just yet. We are going to do an avalanche. So think about it. It might be more than one thing, but what's something that's special to you this time of year? And we're going to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, avalanche. take a minute and look through some of the responses that your classmates have. I wish if we were doing one in our chat right now, Ms. Prince, what's one thing you would be putting in the chats?
My family always had a huge feast. We're a restaurant family, so we had a huge feast during the winter holidays.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing. Mr. Visotto, what would be one of your special activities or celebrations?
New Year night. For New Year's in Brazil, you put white clothes and you go celebrate. You have to start the year in a good way.
Oh, neat. I have to say one thing my family does every winter is we spend one evening and we decorate gingerbread houses. And it's something that has evolved over the years as my kids have gotten older to now be like little villages, but it's something that's special to us. So I'm curious to hear about what was in your chat. What we're going to do now as we jump into our holidays is there's going to be a brief video, a little description, and while we're showing that, we want you to think, what holiday might this be? You're going to be using the chat in your classroom a lot. There'll be a little TikTok video. You think you know what holiday it is, respond using the chat. We're not going to really be stopping the video or the assembly like we have in the past and giving you guys time to talk. This is going to be an ongoing thread. And teachers, you can be monitoring that as we go. Remember, the celebrations that we're going to be looking at are all during the months of December and January. So here we go. Our first one, Profe Bennett is going to give us a little introduction.
The time has arrived for our first TikTok. After watching the TikTok, share in the chat if you caught what winter tradition is being discussed. There's also the additional question. Make sure you respond to that in your advisory chat. Hope you enjoy.
So that question is, do you have any times of year that focused on rest and relaxation?
On the winter solstice, usually December 21st or 22nd, the sun will be at its lowest point in the sky, which will result in the shortest day and the longest night of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. Winter solstice is, for many Indigenous peoples, a time to move inwards and consider how our actions affect the world around us. We are dependent on our relationships with the water, air, soil, and with all living things, and those things are also dependent on us. Because it's the longest night of the year, it provides a time for rest and reflection, as well as a chance to practice gratitude. Use the opportunity the winter solstice provides to reflect and remember your sacred connection to all living things.
I'm so excited to be sharing with you all today about winter solstice. This is one of our December traditions, and it is over thousands of years old. It's actually a celebration that's honored by Indigenous peoples all around the world. Indigenous is a word that means people who are originally from a land or a territory. They occupied that space first. For example, Native Americans are indigenous peoples to the continent or modern day continent of North America. So indigenous peoples all around the world have been celebrating, honoring, practicing winter solstice for thousands of years. It is typically celebrated on December 21st as the shortest day of the year. And this is a time when the poles in the Northern Hemisphere are reaching the furthest away from the sun. So it's what gives us this perspective of having dark for longer. It's celebrated all across the world, and it is a magical and spiritual time for people to honor these shifts in daylight. Many cultures around the world were dependent upon daylight and cycles of the sun and moon to help them with how they went about their daily tasks, their jobs, their planting of crops. And so winter solstice was an important time. It was this idea of coming together during this darker time to honor a special time of year. Now, even though it's thousands of years old, It is still being practiced today. Many indigenous peoples and cultures honor winter solstice today. You can see a couple of the pictures that I have for you. Oftentimes, indigenous peoples will hold ceremonies at nighttime that might involve fires or creating light to create lightness in the dark, to bring positivity into a negative space. There are people who have traditions during the daylight, like happens in Mexico with our pole flyers that have a tradition in Mexico. There's so many. And I challenge you to explore these different indigenous practices of winter solstice. You won't be disappointed. They're really interesting.
Oops, I'm sorry, I skipped too fast. Hold on. Our next holiday. We're going to play this video, and I want you to think, you might have seen it because I snuck ahead by accident, but what holiday do you think is being represented here? All right, did you guess Yule? Yule is a holiday that's celebrated between December 21st and January 1st. This takes place, Profe Bennett identifies countries in the Northern Hemisphere, Germany, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Ireland, United States, and more. And this has a connection to winter solstice in terms of how long, also when days are the coldest, because the sun is not up as much. Families celebrate the death and the rebirth of the sun when we think about the sun's rotation, the Earth's rotation around the sun, and it's a time to think about new beginnings. Different ways we can celebrate Yule are to decorate trees with fruits and candles, exchange gifts, hang mistletoe, decorate our house with holly leaves, light candles. We're going to see that lighting candles shows up quite a bit in a lot of holidays, or fire or lights, definitely something during this dark time of year. All right, we're ready for our next holiday. Before I click play, be thinking, what holiday is it? What is its main traditions? And you can add that in your class chat.
Way that we observe Hanukkah has a lot of diversity depending on what kind of Jew you are or where in the world you find yourself. But one of the commonalities is that it's a tradition to light the candles and to place them facing the outside world. In Hebrew and in Aramaic, it's called Pirsume Denisa, which means publicizing the miracle. I'm right here, and I have a light to shine in the world. It's a fascinating thing that more Jews observe Hanukkah than really almost any other holiday, with the exception of Passover and maybe the high holidays. And one of the reasons for that is it's very easy to do. It is a beautiful thing to gather as friends and family, to light these candles. And really, that's the entirety of the observance. How you place the candles, the decorations and the songs you sing, maybe the potato latkes that you eat, but the simplicity of it is also incredibly dear to my heart, at least.
Well, if you look in your chat, what did you put? There's multiple ways to spell Hanukkah. You might not have spelled it this way, but this is a holiday of Hanukkah. Jewish people all over the world celebrate this holiday, and it's based on the Jewish lunar calendar. This year, last night was the last night of Hanukkah. So it's December 15th. Today is the last full day of Hanukkah. Hanukkah in English means dedication. And as you can see in the image on the right, in Hebrew, when you want to wish somebody a happy holiday, you would say Chag Sameach. My family celebrates Hanukkah, and last night we lit the menorah and all 8 nights because we add a candle each night. And you can see from the images here, some things that happen during Hanukkah is fried foods are eaten to remind us about oil and the symbolism of oil burning in the temple many, many years ago. They're called sufganiyot, and potato pancakes that are called latkes. There's also some games that are played with the spinning top, as shown here, which is called dreidel. Miss Prince is going to talk to us about this next holiday. So as we play this video, be thinking, what is it? And put it in your chat.
If you guessed that the figure was the Buddha or Siddhartha Gautama for my history folks, you would be right. So this is Bodhi Day, celebrated by Buddhist people and communities all around the world. And it's on December 8th, so it just passed last week in the Western world in Japan, but different countries have different dates. But it's celebrated primarily in places like the US, Japan, Korea, China, Vietnam, and the Philippines. And it celebrates when Buddha received enlightenment and learned the nature of life, suffering and the path to spiritual awakening underneath the tree in modern-day India. Families often celebrate it by focusing on meditation and reflection, visiting temples, eating vegetarian meals. And in the US, they decorate a Bodhi tree with lights, which shows you how different cultures kind of mix over time.
All right, here we go with our next holiday.
Esto es una verdadera posada. Se reciben a los peregrinos. Se reza y canta. La piñata que representa los 7 pecados capitales no puede faltar, todos compartiendo y disfrutando.
So if you guys Las Posadas, you are right. And if you're seeing, they were speaking in Spanish. Why? Because this is a celebration that is huge for Latin people and Latino communities. So it's going to start tomorrow from December 16 to December 24. This started originally in Mexico, and they start now expanding to a lot of these countries in Central America. So the idea of this holiday is to celebrate the biblical journey of Mary and Joseph from Nazareth to Bethlehem in search of a safe place for Mary to give birth to Jesus. And how do people celebrate? So there is usually people, they get together and they go in a parade and they go singing song to song, and they ask for shelter. People, they leave their doors open. Like you ask, there's other ways here that people also sing. So think about, do you sing in your culture? So singing is a way that a lot of cultures, they celebrate. They dress up in costumes. They try to be like Mary, Joseph, and more. And now what the kids really enjoy is when what? When the piñatas break down, boom, 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 piñata break down, and then the party start all over.
So right around the corner, I want to talk about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a 7-day long. holiday in which Black people across the African diaspora honor our West African ancestors. The holiday was created by Dr. Karenga in 1966 in order to bring the Black community together. Even though the holiday was created by an African American, the holiday is a Pan-African holiday, meaning that it can be observed by all Black people. Throughout the 7 days, we honor the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, which are called the Nguzo Saba. The 7 principles include Umo, which is unity, Kujichagulia, which is self-determination, Ujima, which is collective work and responsibility, Ujama, which is cooperative economics, Nia, which is purpose, Kumba, creativity, and Imani, which is faith. Each day you light a candle on the Kanara, which signifies the principle of that day. Each day of Kwanzaa, you'll tell the people that you're celebrating it with Habari Gani. They will respond with the principle of that day. Kwanzaa is a holiday that I think all Black people should celebrate because it's a wonderful holiday to remind us of our ancestors, and it brings us together not only as a family, but as a community. If we
So that was all about Kwanzaa, and although it originated in the United States, like that video showed, it is a Pan-African holiday for all people of African descent around the world, celebrated from December 26th to January 1st, and it celebrates African traditions, honors African ancestors, and reminds African Americans to connect to their culture, has a focus on community and supporting one another through kindness and unity. And the names come from Swahili. So the how do families celebrate? They light a kinara each night, they exchange handmade gifts, sing, dance, play African drums, tell stories, read poetry, and they reflect on the 7 principles that were just in that video.
If you type it in New Year's, you are right. It's January 1st. Now, this is one that celebrates pretty much all over planet Earth. So the earliest record is the indigenous communities. They already know when the New Year's is going to start and they celebrate. Why are people celebrating? Because the new year is the idea of new beginnings. The daylight will return according to UR, and people, they look at how can I get a fresh start? The whole idea about New Year's resolution. And what people do. Some people, you see fireworks in America, there's a lot of fireworks, and the people are there eating grapes, 12 grapes, or the people, they eat black eyed peas or lentils for luck. They burn items to represent the old year. Clean up your house. It's important. Clean up your house to sweep the bed and start the year with your clean house. You count down to midnight. If you go in the Times Square, I've been there once, the stuff go down, 10, 9, 8. You kiss, young people, the midnight kiss might bring you good luck. Ring the bell at 108 times. Smash plates. No, don't do that at home. Don't tell your home start smashing plates. You learn that in our assembly. You manifest, you pray, and you set an intention, young people. So different ways to bring luck for the new year.
This is our last holiday. Here we go. This one actually is a little bit in February. It depends. Some years it's January, some years it's February, but we wanted to include it.
Watch me eat my life away for Lunar New Year. I love Asian gathering, fish, surplus of happiness and prosperity, King Duck. Rough cakes, higher success, and income in the new year. Shrimp, livelihood, happiness, good fortune, chicken, unity and family. Spring roll. Now resembles gold bar, of course. Wealth, blessing. Dumplings, prosperity. Looks like gold pieces. Longevity noodle represents long life. Okra. Tangerine, oranges.
Sophie gets Lunar New Year. You are correct. So while the New Year that we talked about before is based off of the solar calendar, the Lunar New Year is based off of the lunar calendar, the moon. Usually in January or February. This year is on February 10th. It's celebrated by over 2 billion people in the world, all across primarily Asia, and it marks the first new moon of the lunar calendar. And countries have different dates, but the one that's celebrated by primarily China is February 10th. How? Celebrations vary by country, but one commonality is the exchanging envelopes of money, sometimes they're red, dancing, holding street celebrations with fireworks, attending religious ceremonies to honor ancestors, lighting colorful paper lanterns, hanging up red strips of paper with wishes written on them for the new year, and eating traditional foods such as sticky rice balls, cake, and raw fish with vegetable salad.
Okay, we covered a lot of holidays from all over the world. But as you know, we have a Kahoot to see how well were you listening. We hope you learned about a holiday that maybe you didn't know very much about before, or you saw a holiday that you celebrate being recognized in this assembly. It's 1 o'clock now, and it usually takes about 10 minutes to do a Kahoot. We are going to still ask for teachers to do the Kahoot right now and then start our last period of the day at 1:15. So it will push everything back 15 minutes, and it will just be a shortened student support today. Couple things to be thinking about ahead. Next month, we will be focusing on career and technical education. That is January. So we'll be seeing you again in the new year on January 19th. And we really want to just say thank you for celebrating and honoring all these different winter traditions with us. We hope you enjoy your winter break. You all have worked so hard, and you deserve this time to rejuvenate and relax and be with loved ones. And we are excited to see you in, well, we'll really be seeing you on Monday. It's not vacation yet, but we are excited for 2024. Teachers, we will be putting the Kahoot in the chat, and period 6, thank you for the chat update, will begin at 1:15. Teachers, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye.